ولا هم ضالين. آمين 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 يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والفائدة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. We are continuing with our book خلقنا للشيخ العلامة الحبيب عمر بن محمد بن سالم بن حفيظ بن الشيخ أبو بكر بن سالم حفظه الله تعالى، ونفعنا الله به بعلمه في الدارين. The book Our Moral Constitution or Our Good Character by the great scholar of our time, our Sheikh Al-Habib Umar bin Muhammad bin Salim bin Hafiz, who links all the way back to Sheikh Abu Bakr bin Salim, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him and benefit us by him. In both books where he has said, right, so we are on the section on um, we plan and organize, right? As how we should spend our income to ensure that that it is spent in the best way and the most appropriate way. And yesterday I mentioned like about good character and bad character. What basically or what essentially, good character and bad character means, right? And that good character is to treat someone right. Right, that is good character to treat those around you or treat yourself right. And bad character is to be abusive. Basically, a bad character is a form of abuse. Abusing those who are around you, and bad character onto your own self is abusing your own self, right? So, abusing your own self, right? So, when we take all these points as mentioned by Habib Omar that he has listed out, then understand that doing the opposite of what he is saying is you essentially abusing your own self. You're abusing your own self when you don't plan, how you spend your income, when you splurge, it's not, it's, people think, oh, I'm pampering myself. No, you are abusing yourself. Why? You're abusing yourself because you are making yourself have stronger attachment to dunya. Right? And the more attached a person is to dunya, the more they will suffer. The more they will suffer in life, right? The more an individual is attached to the dunya, the more they will suffer in life. Dunya, in its nature, dunya intrinsically in its nature comes and goes, right? And dunya intrinsically in its nature will never satisfy. It will never satisfy. That is the way of that is how dunya is. And dunya mal'una wal mal'una ma fiha. The dunya is cursed. Hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The dunya is cursed and it's cursed all that's in it. إلا ذكر الله, except the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wal alim wal muta'allim, and the scholar and the one who is studying. Right, three things that is not cursed in this dunya, right? Subhanallah, dhikrullah includes all forms of ibadah, all forms of worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and al-alim, the one who is a scholar teaching, and the one who is a muta'alim, the one who is a student studying sacred knowledge, specifically sacred knowledge. Now, right, so subhanallah, and dunya haqira, the dunya haqira. The dunya is lowly. It is lowly. Like, its span is very short. This dunya is so short, right? And then it is full of afflictions and calamities and this and that, all kinds of issues coming in this dunya. Right? And the only one who runs after this dunya is the one who is Amal Basira. It's from lines of poetry that we recite here in one of the D1. Um, and like none will seek it except those who are a'mal basira. They are blind in their inner sight. They are these are those who will seek the dunya. So I mentioned this entire point on the dunya, and staying away from the dunya and not wanting to splurge on yourself or spend on yourself because of the dunya in trying to seek what? Like seek happiness. No, happiness is not found in this dunya. And it is in another hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that from the moment Allah created this dunya, Allah never looked at it. Never looked at it, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never looked at it as if, in giving it any form of value. It has no value to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another hadith, Rasulullah said that if this dunya, and when we say dunya, we mean the money, right, luxury, position, right, that is called dunya. Like in fact, some of the scholars very beautifully define dunya to mean anything that distracts you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is called dunya, right? So you're not saying alam. Alam is alam, that's Allah's creation, and that reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was saying dunya. Right, so the definition, and I love this definition. What is dunya? I say, what is dunya? Dunya is everything or anything that distracts you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dunya, right? So if money distracts you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dunya. If prestige and fame distracts you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dunya. Right? And even if someone, were to embark on something that is on the outward, a religious pursuit, right? But on the inward, they are still pursuing dunya. Like for example, in the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that the first three people to be flung into the hellfire on the day of judgment. And who are these first three people? Sayyidina Abu Hurairah narrates. And Rasulullah SAW says, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, do you know that on the day of judgment, right, the reciter of the Quran will be called, I mean, one who has memorized the Quran, he will be called and he'll be asked, for what do you recite or for what do you memorize the Quran? And he will say, oh, I did it, for you, Ya Allah, for your sake, Ya Allah. And it'll be said to him, you liar. And you liar. You did it for the people to say, oh, what beautiful a recitation. Oh, how beautiful, how eloquent, right? That, the person. And then, and you got what you wanted. And then, and off, and off, right, to the hellfire. And so he'll be dragged face first into the hellfire. The one who memorized Quran, the one who actually recited Quran, right, for the people. Like because his intention was never for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His intention was to be praised by the people. Right? And because he used something so high to gain something so low, right? Because to gain fame and position and praise in this dunya is something so low. Why do you want that? Why do you want to please the people, right? So and because he used something so high like Quran recitation, like in his pursuit to raise his ego and to raise his nafs, right, in the eyes of people, that he is flung to the hellfire. The second person that we brought forward in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the charitable person, right? Who used to give his money, in the and in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he will be questioned, right? What do you do on the earth? And he will say, oh, I used to give money your way, Ya Allah. I used to spend in your way, Ya Allah, for you, Ya Rabb. And then it will be said to him, you liar, and you liar. You used to do it so that it would be said of you, oh, how generous, right? And it was said, this hadith is like, you know, it hits it at the core. If your intention is dunya, you could be doing an akhirah on the outward, an akhirah, deed. But if your intention is your nafs, your ego, right, some prestige, some fame, right, halas, it is not only that you get no reward on it, you're also punished on it, right? Because it's something so high to raise the nafs, Like it's something so high in the religion, spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, giving his money in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for the nafs, it was for the nafs. So basically, you liar, right? And it was said of you, how generous to be off to the fire, and he'll be dragged face first into the hellfire. Allah brings a third person. It's a group of people, right? Allah puts the third person forward. And this is the one who fought fi sabilillah. He literally fought in the battlefield, right? And he died in the battlefield. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mujahid, fi sabilillah, he is a shaheed, right? He's so-called, it's not a shaheed, but he's on the outward, he seems that he's a shaheed. On the outward, he seems that he's a martyr. Right? Fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the battlefield. Right? So we said to him, what do you do in the world? And he said that, Ya Allah, I spent, I gave my life in your sake, Ya Allah, in your path. I gave my life and I fought in the battlefield for your sake, Ya Rab. And you'll be said to him, you liar, you did that for it to be said of you, oh, how courageous. And it was said. And in the commentary, it says that the third guy, he's the worst. Because the third guy, he did what he did, seeking some form of praise that only came to him after he died. Like the first two, right? At least they enjoyed the praise in the dunya, even though it's a short period of time. Like the last guy is like the worst. The last guy he actually died, right? And then the praise came after he died, was saying, "Oh, Shahid, oh, so courageous, oh, this and that." But he really died. He didn't even enjoy. He didn't even enjoy the praises. The first two people at least they could like bask in the praises, right? So anyway, the third guy and it will say to him, you liar, you liar. But rather you did that so that it be said of you, oh, how courageous. And it was said of you that to be offered the fire, and then he will be dragged face first into the hellfire. And at this point, Rasulullah SAW, he's narrating this to Sayyidina Abu Huraira, right? And at this point, Rasulullah SAW, he strikes the thigh of Sayyidina Abu Huraira. He strikes it. And he says to Sayyidina Abu Huraira, oh, Abu Huraira, these three people, they are the first people to be flung into the hell fire. Right? They're the first people to be flung into the hellfire. Right? Because essentially what they have done is shirk. It is a form of shirk. Why? Because they were doing things that were praiseworthy. They're supposed to be forms of worship, right? Reading the Quran, giving it charity, fighting fi sabilillah, fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are of the highest forms of worship. This is of the highest forms of ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they have mixed their nafs in it, and it became a form of shirk, right? Whereby they were worshipping their nafs, right? They were essentially worshipping their nafs. So it was something that on the outward it seemed like an akhirah form of action. On the inward, it was dunya. It was still dunya. Because they were not focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were distracted by their own selves. They wanted themselves to be praised. Right? So be careful, be warned. Right? For those people, especially in our zaman, people who post stuff online and they post themselves and they post this and they post that. Be warned, what is your intention? Do not destroy your good deeds by showing it to everybody out there. Why do you do what you do? Right? Really question yourself. Like, why do you post what you post? Are you looking for likes? Are you looking to be popular? Are you looking for people to praise you as to what you have? Right? Are you looking for all of that? Right? Then haba and mansura, right? And then all of your deeds will be scattered dust, will be nothing. Right? And not even just that, right? Not even just that. Right. Not even just that. It will be, it can even be punished. It can even be punished, right? So all of this kalam I'm just explaining for this dunya. So point number six is to plan and organize how you spend your income to ensure it is spent in the best and most appropriate way. And that is why we also understand there could be something that on the outward it seems like a pursuit of dunya, right? But in reality, it is akhirah, right? When Allah is intended in whatever you do. So, for example, someone going out to work, they're working, earning an income for their family, right? And they do this with the intention so that their family will be independent, of other people and not having to beg or ask from other people. They do it as a form of worship, form of ibadah. They are seeking halal income. They want to earn some more money for them to be able to go out in charity, right? So what on the outward might seem to be dunya, It is essentially akhirah because what is focused on is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So the difference between dunya and akhirah is one definition, right? Which is a dunya is whatever distracts you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and akhirah actions is whatever brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's basically the definition. And you won't get confused, right? You won't get confused because you just check your heart. I check your heart. Why are you doing this? What are you doing? Why are you spending your money on this? This is point number six. And whatever you spend your money on, why do you do it that way? Why do you do so? Like, is this a way of getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why are you splurging? Like, why are you going for luxury goods? Why are you going for luxury items? Why are you going for luxury holidays? Like, why are you going on to high-end hotels? Like, why? Right? So all of these things, if you can answer, right, for Allah, and Allah be your judge, yeah, Allah be your judge. And no one else will judge you on your intentions. Allah will judge you on your intentions, and that's it's scary because Allah knows exactly if you're faking it, right? If you're really doing it for your nafs and not for anything else. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Now, right. So now we're going to point number seven. Number seven. Now, um, we should be far-sighted and prepare ourselves for the future. Okay, this is an important point for us to take note, right? So, okay, the future here, right? Please don't misunderstand. The future here, المستقبل حابة أشوف comment on this. المستقبل الحقيقي هو الآخرة، تمام؟ ليس الدنيا. يعني هذا ليس مستقبل. Right? So the future, right? Future, right? The true future is the akhirah. Tamam. Don't think that, oh, prepare ourselves for the future. Okay, when I grow up, we already grew, right? But when I, I want to prepare for my retirement fund, I prepare for my, my old age. I want to make sure my CPF and whatever. No, nobody promised you that. Nobody promised you that you're gonna live to that age. But you are promised one thing, that you will die, right? All of us, we are promised one thing in life. All of us. We are promised one thing in life, death. That is what we're promised. No one promised you they're going to go past 30 years old. No one promised you're going to go past 40 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old, right? No one promised you that. No one promised you today. No one promised you tomorrow, right? It's not promised, right? So when you speak about future, you're talking about the real future that will happen for you, right? Future that will happen for you without any doubt. And it is what? Al-akhirah, the hereafter, right? And there is ila jannah abada or ila nar abada. Either is to paradise forever or to the hellfire forever. So be far-sighted. Oh, far-sighted. Shi Bhuti, he has Shi Ramanan Bhuti. He has a book that he wrote, about his father, about his father. It's entitled "This Is My Father," right? Because he was raised and he was, trained at the hands of his father, and the great fathers out there, mashallah. That is why I had like such a annoyance with the video that I shared the other day, right? About that guy who was mentioning about, whether fathers have a role in bringing up their children. If you look at our mashayikh, and they follow the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but if you look at our mashayikh, all of them are products of excellent fatherhood, of excellent fathering, Afwan, of excellent fathering. Like all of them, like everybody I meet here in Tarim, all of them, like they are products, of just really, really good fathering. Even those who are orphaned, right? There are those who are orphaned, right? There were men around them who fathered them, right? Like the teacher, the sheikh, in the school and so on. They were people. They were men. Of course, there were women as well. There were mothers around them, right, who mothered them, but there were fathers around them who fathered them. Okay, right. So it is essential. Fathers are essential as mothers are essential. They are both essential, right? So, subhanallah, you can like for example, Ababa. Yesterday when we went for masjid visitation to help Aishun, and then we were at Masjid As-Saqaf, right? We were at Masjid As-Saqaf, and and there was like some men on one end of Masjid As-Saqaf, right? So Hababa came in and then we go on the other side, and because I closed the door in between and told the woman to pray first for Hababa to come. So Hababa came in and Hababa was like, "Why you guys on this side?" And I said to her, there are two men on the other side. I said, "You can't go there." Right. So we're praying on this side, so you close the doors for us to pray here. Then Haba was like, are they leaving? Because she wants to go to the restaurant. She said, are they leaving? So I said to her, I think it's your brother. I know it's her brother. I said, I think it's your brother, Haba. But he said, that's like, right. So I was like, ah, my brother. So she went to look, oh yeah, it's him. It's her brother. And I knew it was her brother because every Friday the men, there will be men in Tarim, who go out of Tarim to the outskirts of Tarim, to the villages around Tarim, to do da'wah. Okay, every Friday, the men will come to Tarim, right, and they will do. The men from Tarim, they will go out of Tarim, and the locals, and there'll be local scholars or students, right, from studying in Tarim, or teaching in Tarim. They'll go out of Tarim to the towns around Tarim, the villages around Tarim, the Bedouins that are there, to do da'wah, to teach and do da'wah. And before they go, they will come to Masjid al-Saqaf, right? And they will seek the Fatiha, right, of Habib Abdul Rahman, who is Hababa's brother, right, who is in Masjid al-Saqaf. Right, you see his Fatiha and you do a Fatiha for them, right? Like, it's just to dua for them for a good da'wah trip, and then they will leave Tarim. So and this happens every Friday morning, happens every Friday morning without fail. And I know that this was it's a culture passed down like from Habib Mashur. Sahaba's father was doing it. Like Sahaba's father trained his sons, on doing that. So every Friday without fail, confirm he's there. Hababa's brother, right, who took over from Habib Mashur. And so I was like, so I just said to Hababa, this is something that Haimash used to do, right? And she was like, yeah, Haimash used to do this. And she was like, and this actually came from Habib Muhammad bin Salim, which came from Habib Salim. Right? Meaning that she was saying that this practice of coming to Masjid Saqaf on Friday morning and sitting there, and that anybody who's going out on Friday, out of Tarim to do da'wah, right, in the towns around Tarim, like that it is understood as a culture. They will come to Masjid al-Thaqaf and they will look for the Mashhur family, the bin Hafiz family, the Hawaba's family, and seek the Fatiha, right, from them, the dua from them, and then they will leave, right? So so this culture is passed down from father to son, right? So it was from Habib Muhammad who began doing it. Then Habib Mashhur took over when Habib Muhammad, was abducted, right? And then and when Habib Mashhur passed away, then his son, took over. Habib's brother, right, took over. And then so Habib was like, this is something that was passed down, right, from Habib Salim, all the way up, all the way up. This is what fathers do. The real fathers. The real fathers. They train their children so well. Right, Habib Mashur, all of his children, you will say, oh, all of them, they are well trained. Like, mashallah, I've never seen a family there's that many people, in the path of the da'wah, under the training of the father. And Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. You have also, and this is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So not only did he father his own children, in that he trained them to be righteous individuals, right, at the height of the Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. Like he also fathered the Sahaba. The Sahaba were fathered by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spiritually, and he trained them. Like he trained them. So anyway, I was mentioning all of these things because of, and much like I can go on and on and on about all these stories of great fathers. There's why never underestimate the value of a great father. And when I say great father, right, someone who is grounded in the religion, right? How lucky those people whose fathers who sit down with them and do the ratib with the family every single night. How lucky. Right? The fathers who wake them up, early in the morning, right? And every day, a fajr in jama'ah before they go off to school. I had my mother told me I had uncles who used to do that. Like they have 10 children living in a small flat, and the father would wake up all of his kids and he would train his sons. He had 5 sons, 5 daughters, right? My mom's cousins. And he would train his sons to do the adhan. And so every day there was a duty, right? Someone whose job to do the adhan every single day, right, for Fajr, and they will pray Fajr on the dot, right? They will pray on time. Nobody's praying Fajr late. No one's being lazy. No one's dragging themselves out of bed. No, up before Fajr, right, up right before Fajr, doing the tahajjud, training. The father's training them, right? On righteousness. And after Fajr, right, they have Quran halaqa as a family. It takes a father to do this, a father to really run this and drive this to be this, to be so strong in that. And you see, يا بختهم, how lucky they are, right, to have fathers who actually drive the family in that way, mashallah. Which is why in Islam, that when you seek a spouse, to seek righteousness, to seek religiosity. This is a form of religiosity, right? So anyway, I was talking about Shibuti, right? So Shibuti, he wrote a book all about his father, mashallah. And really the interim I met so many starting going there. I met so many of my teachers. So many of them are products of their fathers. So many the teachers in Darul Zahra, the entire group of teachers in Darul Zahra, that their education is their father. Not any school, not any institution, no. The education is their father. Full stop. The Islamic education is their father. The training is their father. It's the father who's doing it, and he trains his sons and his daughters. Both are trained, right, by the father. Subhanallah, it's really like, it's like you can go on and on and on, about how, great their upbringing. So anyway, Shibuti, he mentions he has an entire book that he writes about his father. And those who've been around Shibuti, they mention the birr, right, the righteousness that he showed towards his parents, his father especially. There was once whereby he was already, you would say a grown man, even someone coming into his old age, whereby there was once, some of the scholars, were going, for a particular gathering, after, his class, and they invited Sheikh to come with them. And Sheikh was like, hold on, let me ask my father. And Sheikh is actually in his old age. And he says to them, hold on, let me ask my father. Like, and he calls his father, they overhear him say, yeah, Abi, and he speaks to the father in a very loving tone. My friends, my friends invited me for some majlis, after class, can I go? Like a child asking for permission, from their parents. But he was a grown man, in fact, into his like older age. Right, so and then they heard him say, marhaba, marhaba, jazakumullah khair, jazakumullah khair, oh my father, ya Sayyidi. And they do call their father Sayyidi. Right, they call their parents Sayyidi, ya Sayyidi, ya Sayyidi, my master, my master. They do call their parents that, ya Sayyidi. I said, jazakumullah khair, ya Sayyidi, and afwan, ya Sayyidi, naam, and then mashkur, mashkur, ya Sayyidi. I thank you and everything. And he got off the phone and he said to the other ulama, they were all ulama there, they were all scholars. He said to them, my father says no, I'm going to come home. So I'm going home. And he went home. Obedience, complete obedience to the father. Right. So anyway, I'm gonna end with this because it's really time. I have another class to go for. Um so anyway, he said that so Shibuti, mashallah, right, this is really people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said that when he was young, like his father would bring him to the halaqat, the circles of knowledge, in the masajid in Syria. Beautiful books to read. I have this book of, Haza Walidi. It's called Haza Walidi. This is my father. He wrote all about his father, Nashibuti. Um, to learn about fatherhood, what is correct fatherhood, of correct fathering. Right? So he said that, my father used to bring me to the halaqas, to the halaqat, in the masajid, in the masjid, right, to study. Who bring me to the feet of the mashayikh and place me there as a child, and I would study at the feet of the mashayikh. This was during a zaman whereby there was a revolution in the Muslim lands, right? And a revolution because of colonialization, from the West, right? So France had taken over Syria, right? The same France had colonized Syria. The British had taken over Palestine and other parts of the Islamic world. Right? They had destroyed the Islamic world, basically divided and conquered the Islamic world, and that was how they stole Palestine and give it to the Zionists. So it's also, vicious what they did. Right. So anyway, France had taken over Syria, and part of the colonialist policy is to indoctrinate, to brainwash the people to want to study in the West. That is how they destroy the Islam of the people, to get them to go to the West and study at their hands. Like, don't study here in Sham. Don't be under don't be at the feet of your ulama or scholars. They will discount, or destroy the value of the ulama. that people will look at the scholars in disdain, and they will look down on the scholars. That was what they were trying to do. And they will look at Islamic education, in disdain, and see it as worthless. Right. And this has happened. This happened in the Ummah. It happened. This was actually planned, right, by the Dajjalic forces. It was planned. You're going to pick the howler, but it is planned. I was just listening to this lecture by Habib Abu Bakr yesterday. He was talking about it yesterday on the radio. He played his lecture on the radio, right? And he was talking about this. He was saying that this was planned, right? To reduce the qaimah, to reduce the value of Islam in the eyes of the Muslims, and the value of the ulama in the eyes of the Muslims. That they see that secular education is the way to go. And secular education is far more superior than Islamic education. And this happened in the Muslim Ummah worldwide, worldwide. People began to look down on this education, right? And they exalted secular education. This happened, right? So, but she would say that his father was not duped. So he would not buy into that nonsense, and he would bring Sheikh, from halaqah to halaqah as a child, and people would say to the father, "What are you doing? Why are you bringing a brilliant son?" And Sheikh Buti was a brilliant human being, and you say, why are you bringing your brilliant son, to these masjids, into these halaqas that have no certification, it's not a degree nor a diploma, you're not going to get anywhere. And they will say to the father, you don't care about his future. You're not preparing him for his future. They say to the father of Shibuti, that you're not preparing him for his future. What is he going to do with all this, knowledge in the halaqas, in the masjid? What is he going to do? Because, waste his life away. He's not going to earn anything. He's not going to earn any money, right? How is he going to be successful in life? So that what people say, right? How do you judge success, right? Um, and the father will say, well, rather, I am doing this for his future. It is exactly for his future why I'm doing this, his eternal future. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not going to place him in the hands of the enemy. I'm going to place him in the hands of our scholars. Like, mashallah, it was the father with wa'i. Like, wa'i meaning this very deep understanding in the father, that he could see past the facade and the lies, of what the colonists were spreading and corrupting in the minds of the Muslims. Many of them bought into it, and many of them, they abandoned Islamic education and they went into secular education. And it's throughout the Muslim Ummah. So even in Yemen, the majority of the students here in Tarim, in Yemen, in Tarim, whereby there are so many scholars here, only a small percentage actually go for Islamic education. Majority of them are in government schools, which have hardly any Islamic education. It's secular. They cover up, yes, they go to school and they cover up, yes. Right, but it's secular. Right, they learn physics, chemistry, mathematics, they have English, they learn some Arabic by the side, they don't even learn proper Arabic, not nahu, no balagha, no, saraf, nothing. They hardly learn any fiqh. Just a bare minimum of fiqh, or aqidah. They won't cover books for aqidah. Like Darul Zahra is a madrasa. How you count a madrasa in Singapore. Darul Zahra is a madrasa. It is based on Islamic education. But the majority, because I'm in a university and I met so many of them, they have almost no Islamic education, as if they went through one of the secular schools in Singapore, but only in the Arabic language. Right? They know a lot, on history and geography, on science and maths and whatsoever, and they have almost zero. They have never taken a single book on aqidah, on fiqh, on tasawwuf, never. Because this is what the government schools are, right here in Yemen, the Muslim country. Like almost no Islamic education whatsoever in the government schools. Like when you go to private, madrasas, like the Rosara is one of them, like then they will find Islamic education there. This is worldwide, right? It's worldwide in the sense in the Muslim lands. This has happened. Whereby they go into school and they might even have like this one period a week on Islam. One period. And so all of Islam put together like that. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. So then, I will continue on this point tomorrow, inshallah. I do aim to finish this before Rabiul Awal, because I want to focus on Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for Rabiul Awal and have classes on him Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right, so I do hope to finish the text. We have only a few more points, inshallah. We can finish it. The next week I can finish it quickly based on how much I want to talk. Tamam. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So we should be far-sighted. So don't think that this means, oh, save up money for your old age, right? No one ever promised you your old age, okay? This means collect your ibadah for the time after death. As Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, al-kayyis. Kayyis is the one who is he's intellectual, he's smart, he's wise, is the one who acts on what will come tomorrow, and this refers to death. This refers to death. You prepare for death. So when you speak about far-sighted, you're going to speak about day of judgment. You're going to prepare your mizan, you're going to prepare your book, you're going to prepare a book of deeds, you're going to prepare your skills, you're going to prepare the hisab, how it's going to be on the day of judgment, you're going to prepare your sirat, how you're going to cross the sirat. That is what you're preparing for. Okay? Not like, oh, I want to have like a 20-year plan. I want to by the time I am 40, I have to have how many $1 million in my bank. Some people have this kind of like goals in life. They're not even promised that they live till 40. Yet they're gonna plan to be a millionaire by 40. Allah, they die, they drop it before that. So at the end of times. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Yes, definitely fathers play a very important role in the righteousness of a child. Both parents, fathers and mothers, that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the creation. Right? Both parents play very important roles, right, in the upbringing of the child. Tamam. And سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. This is a good question here. What do you think about the golden age of Islam? That so many people say that it is the best era for Muslims because they were excelling in what people consider secular knowledge. Okay, this is what the West are saying. The West say this, right? But if you hear what our ulama say, they say the golden age of Islam was when the Muslims were at the peak of their righteousness. They were at the peak of their taqwa, they were at the peak of their ibadah. And because they gave the rights of the religion, Allah opened for them so many knowledges. And that the advancements of technology and science in the Muslim Ummah in the golden ages is because they were trying to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better. So they invented, the Muslims there are the first to invent indoor plumbing for what? For tahara. That's why they invented the indoor plumbing. Like the Muslims were the first ones to invent it, like indoor plumbing, because they were trying to get their wudu easier, right? They're trying to aim for tahara. Like they were the first, to study, right? The stars, the movement of the stars, right? And the movement of the sun and the earth around the sun and so on. Why? Because they wanted to predict prayer timings. And they wanted to predict, when Ramadan will come in, when Shawwal will come in. All of the scientific advancements in the Muslim world in the golden ages, all of it revolved around ibadah. Do you all know that? Right? So don't be duped by what the West say. And the West say, oh, the golden age of Islam is because of the secular knowledge. No, 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 no. That was by the side. They excelled in their Islam, and because they excelled in their Islam, the dunya followed. You get me? Right? Do not be deluded by what the West they want you to think. And the moment the Muslims declined in their Islam, they were conquered and destroyed. Right? There was when they began drinking, they began sinning, they began doing all kinds of things, and you see this golden age of Islam crumble right before them because they began to move towards sins. But for as long as they were righteous, that was the golden age of Islam. The golden age of Islam cannot happen without righteousness. Allah will not allow for it. So they attain what they attain because they got themselves right with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I get your history right. Okay. تمام. Okay. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.